Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. So where does the time go? 2014 was a year filled with events, but it is our economy that's our focus today, and where we begin with our look back on 2014. Well, for most of America, 2014 was the year economic recovery began to take hold. Despite a wintry contraction at the beginning of the year, the economy grew at an annual rate of over 3%. Chad Wilkerson heads the Oklahoma City branch of the Federal Reserve Bank.
The U.S. has fared very well, especially in the last 6 to 8 months. We started out the year very slow with the bad weather across most of the country, but the numbers in the second and third quarter were very strong, and the preliminary numbers for the fourth quarter have also been solid. Oklahoma has also done quite well, especially in Oklahoma City, but the state as a whole has grown rapidly so far.
Altogether, America's employers added more than 2.5 million jobs in 2014, the most created in over 8 years, a trend that Deidre Myers with Oklahoma's Department of Commerce says has been especially good for Oklahoma workers.
2014 overall was a very good year for Oklahoma. Our unemployment rate remained below 5%, so that meant households in Oklahoma had a very good year. Wage rates look like they will continue to increase. We had very low or moderate inflation compared to other hot economies. However, we still have the exogenous or external pressures from the national economy and more of the international malaise that still seems to be out there that is always of concern for Oklahoma.
A generally sunny picture that wasn't without its dark clouds, even if those clouds didn't contain much rain. Jim Reese is Oklahoma's Secretary of Agriculture.
2014 was it was horrible for wheat, one of the worst wheat crops in history, because we didn't get any rain until May. Agriculture is always just basically contingent upon rainfall. So we didn't have much until May. June and July were really good for most of the state. And so after the wheat crops, some people have recovered with a really good summer crop. Some may not have.
But smaller crops typically mean higher prices. And no one knows that more than beef producers, who are enjoying record highs.
Gross income from agriculture will still be good, still be positive, despite the fact that we had a horrible wheat crop, because we had good summer crops, we had good grass, good hay. So all in all, it's been a good year.
And those same laws of supply and demand are also impacting Oklahoma's top industry. Oil prices have slid by almost 40% in the past few months, in part to a sluggish world economy which is just consuming less than anticipated. Energy analyst Jamie Webster.
When you've got slower demand growth, that means you need less oil in the world, but the U.S. is still producing quite a bit, which means that you could end up having a significant price drop. And while that always sounds great from a consumer standpoint, I'm always well aware of the long-term marginal cost, meaning the long-term price that companies need to both incentivize them to keep investing so that you can keep production up. Because if you end up seeing a significant price drop, what that means, or what it should mean and trigger in people's mind, is that I am going to have to pay for this drop with a much higher price at some point in the future.
And while cheaper oil could save the typical American motorist about $800 annually, for states like Oklahoma, whose energy roots run deep, a dip in prices could be felt all across the state.
It has been the single biggest factor in terms of the growth that we've seen since the recession. And this is a benefit that has extended across income levels, and both for companies and individuals and a whole host of different industries that are connected to it. So it's people that are working in the 7-Eleven that are supporting the oil workers in a particular province. It's also the royalty owners. The U.S. is unique in that landowners end up owning the mineral rights, and so they can actually receive funds from the oil producers, because if they end up contracting to allow them to drill on their land. So there's just this nice kind of virtuous cycle where a lot of people are able to participate in this big boom.
And while Oklahoma's economy has outperformed the nation in recent years, if the downturn in energy prices lasts from a year to 18 months, as many predict, that undoubtedly would cool what's been a red-hot economy. Well, Devon Energy Corporation CEO John Rachele says he will step down at the end of July next year. Rachele has been president of Devon since 2004 and named CEO in 2010. Now, originally from Canada, Rachele's gained his American citizenship last year and says his plans are to remain in the state. Now, when we return, my conversation with Oklahoma's Secretary of Commerce, who says the state could take some lessons from a certain superhero.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.